Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes how to lose 6 kilos in a month. A deal brings early end to faculty strike at California State University. Supermarkets are probably overcharging, Alan Fell says, after calling for in-depth ACCC inquiry. Why has a tropical low put large areas of Queensland on flood alert? Australia is sanctioning a Russian over a cyber crime, but will it have any impact? How to lose 6 kilos in a month. Telegraph. Obesity is costing the UK almost £100 billion per year, equivalent to 4% of the country's GDP, according to analysis from the Tony Blair Institute. The report describes the nation as a sick and impoverished one due to excess weight, with men adding an average of 6 kilograms to their waistlines over the past decade and women adding 5 kilograms. The report argues that the UK's obesogenic environment, characterized by sedentary lifestyles and high-calorie foods, is to blame. The article offers 4 ways to lose weight in 4 weeks: low-carb diets, intermittent fasting, calorie counting, and meal replacements. Low-carb diets are recommended because they prompt the body to burn stored fat for energy and improve other health factors. Intermittent fasting, which reduces caloric intake, is also effective for weight loss. Calorie counting involves reducing energy intake, and meal replacements, such as shakes and soups, can lead to significant weight loss when used in place of regular meals. A deal brings early end to faculty strike at California State University. Yahoo! A tentative deal has been reached to end a faculty strike across the 23-campus California State University (CSU) system. The California Faculty Association (CFA) announced that CSU has agreed to a deal on wages that falls short of the 12% increase they had sought, but would still put an end to the planned 5-day walkout. The agreement includes a 5% raise retroactive to July 2023, on top of an equal amount that would start in July. Members would also receive increased parental leave. The strike involved around 29,000 faculty, librarians, and other staff. Supermarkets are probably overcharging, Alan Fell says, after calling for in-depth ACCC inquiry. ABC. The former head of Australia's competition watchdog, Alan Fells, has called for an in-depth investigation into supermarket profit margins and supply chains. In a letter to Australia's Treasurer, Fells demanded a comprehensive investigation into competition and prices in the retail food and grocery industry. Fells said that major supermarket chains were overpricing, highlighting that they were quick to raise prices when wholesale prices rose but slow to pass on cost savings to consumers. Why has a tropical low put large areas of Queensland on flood alert? ABC. A tropical low off the coast of Queensland is expected to hit the coast late on Thursday night and into Friday morning, bringing with it heavy rain and a risk of flooding. The storm is forecast to stall over the Coral Sea, gathering moisture and increasing rainfall totals. With much of Queensland already saturated, there is a significant risk of widespread flooding. The storm is predicted to resemble Tropical Cyclone Debbie, which hit the Queensland coast in March 2017. Australia is sanctioning a Russian over a cyber crime, but will it have any impact? ABC. The Australian government has imposed Magnitsky-style sanctions for the first time, targeting Russian man Alexander Ermakov for his alleged role in the 2022 Metabank private data breach. The sanctions involve a financial freeze and travel ban. Contravening the sanctions could result in a prison sentence of up to 10 years and or a fine of $555,000 Australian dollars, $400,000. However, cybersecurity professor Richard Buckland believes the impact on Ermakov will be limited until relations between Australia and Russia improve. He added that while the move sends a message about Australia's commitment to tackling cybercrime, change will take time. How Steve Garvey became a punchline at the first California Senate debate. Yahoo! Steve Garvey, a Republican candidate to replace the late Senator Dianne Feinstein, was the target of ridicule and mockery at his first public debate on April 14. His Democratic rivals pressed him to say whether he would vote for Donald Trump a third time, a question he repeatedly refused to answer. Katie Porter, one of the Democrats, said, "What they say is true, once a Dodger, always a Dodger. Who will you vote for?" Garvey also faced laughter after he described how he approached homeless people and touched them and listened to them. China's feared spy agency steps out of the shadows. Financial Times. China's Ministry of State Security, MSS, the country's spy agency, is increasing its public profile as President Xi Jinping focuses on tightening security. The MSS has recently accused the UK's Secret Intelligence Service, MI6, of instructing a foreign consultant to spy on China, and last year claimed to have arrested a Chinese national who was working for US intelligence services. The growing publicity reflects an increase in the MSS's political status and the political backing to make statements on behalf of the government, according to analysts. The MSS was founded in 1983 and is a civilian secret police service. It is responsible for counterintelligence as well as political security for the communist regime. It has been accused of widespread espionage abroad and has increasingly stepped up warnings to the public about the dangers of espionage. Arno A. Penzias, 90, dies, Nobel physicist, confirmed Big Bang Theory. New York Times. Arno A. Penzias, whose astronomical probes yielded incontrovertible evidence of a dynamic, evolving universe with a clear point of origin, confirming what became known as the Big Bang Theory, died on Monday in San Francisco. He was 90. His death, in an assisted living facility, was caused by complications of Alzheimer's disease, his son, David, said. Dr. Penzias, pronounced Penzias, shared one half of the 1978 Nobel Prize in Physics with Robert Woodrow Wilson for their discovery in 1964 of cosmic microwave background radiation, remnants of an explosion that gave birth to the universe some 14 billion years ago. That explosion, known as the Big Bang, is now the widely accepted explanation for the origin and evolution of the universe. A third physicist, Pyotr Kapitsa of Russia, received the other half of the prize, for unrelated advances in developing liquid helium. Until Dr. Penzias and Dr. Wilson published their observations, the Big Bang Theory competed with the steady-state theory, which envisioned a more static, timeless expanse growing into infinite space, with new matter formed to fill the gaps. Dr. Penzias and Dr. Wilson's discovery finally settled the debate. Yet it was the serendipitous product of a different investigation altogether. Michigan school shooter's mother to stand trial for manslaughter in 4 student deaths. The Toronto Star. The mother of a teenager who committed a mass school shooting in Michigan is heading to trial on involuntary manslaughter charges. Jennifer Crumbley is accused of making a gun accessible to her son, Ethan Crumbley, ignoring his mental health needs, and failing to take him home when confronted with violent drawings at school on the day of the attack. The trial marks the first time that parents have been charged in a mass school shooting in the United States. Ethan Crumbley was sentenced to life in prison in December 2021 after pleading guilty to murder and terrorism charges. UK prepares for more deadly winds as Met Office issues rare warning. The Independent. The UK is bracing itself for another storm, named Storm Jocelyn, which is expected to bring strong winds of up to 80 miles per hour and heavy rain. This comes after Storm Isha caused widespread disruption and 4 fatalities. The Met Office has issued a danger to life weather warning for western and northern Scotland, while less serious yellow warnings for wind and rain have been issued for other parts of the UK. The storm has already caused power outages and disrupted travel, with hundreds of flights, trains, and ferries cancelled. Passengers have been left stranded in various locations, including a group of passengers from Edinburgh to Bristol who are currently in Paris due to French immigration officials not allowing them to access hotels without passports. Airlines are required to provide onward transport, hotels, and meals for stranded passengers, but no cash compensation is payable as extreme weather is considered extraordinary circumstances. The disruption is likely to continue as Storm Jocelyn arrives, although wind speeds are expected to be slightly lower than those of Storm Isha. A bear's life. Yahoo! Grizzly 399, a famous grizzly bear in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park, has become an ambassador for her species and a symbol of the successes and shortcomings of the Endangered Species Act. The bear has lived close to humans for most of her life, allowing the public to witness her day-to-day routines and raising generations of cubs. While her story has raised global awareness for grizzly bear conservation, her fame also puts her at risk. The bear's tolerance of being observed by hundreds of people has its limits. Conservationists hope that Grizzly 399 will be able to live the rest of her life in peace, but the odds of a peaceful ending to her story are slim. Adult grizzlies have a high likelihood of dying at the hands of humans. State officials in Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho are currently seeking to remove grizzlies from the endangered species list and lift their protections. The overall grizzly population remains under 2,000 today, an improvement from 136 in 1975. However, this is still far from the estimated 50,000 grizzlies that lived in North America in the early 1800s. Conservationists are concerned about the potential removal of grizzlies from the endangered species list, as well as plans to reintroduce grizzlies to Washington state near North Cascades National Park. Both proposals have been met with controversy. Grizzly 399 is a reminder of the deep human desire to be connected to wild places and creatures, despite the ways modern development separates us from that world. People are drawn to 399 because she represents a connection to the natural world and an opportunity to witness wildlife up close. However, it is important to remember that Grizzly 399 is a wild animal with limits to her tolerance of human presence. What we learned from months on the ground before New Hampshire's primary. Yahoo! Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has called New Hampshire voters presidential wine tasters for their insistence on meeting candidates in person, sometimes repeatedly, before they consider voting for them. On Tuesday, those voters will make their 2024 presidential picks, and what they saw on the trail and how they made their decisions will tell us a lot about American politics for the rest of a big election year. NBC News has spoken to hundreds of New Hampshire voters over 7 months to understand how some of the most openly strategic participants in the presidential race are thinking through 2024 right now. Here are 6 big takeaways about the race. The Chiang Mai Initiative, Haruhiko Kuroda, 17. Nikkei Asia. The Chiang Mai Initiative, CMI, an Asian financial safety net, was established in May 2000 to support Asian countries and contain currency crises. The initiative was enriched in terms of quality and quantity and was later multilateralized into the Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralization (CMIM) agreement. The CMIM reached a size of $240 billion, allowing countries to withdraw funds without the need for an IMF support program. U.S. state investigates AI robocall mimicking President Joe Biden's voice to suppress voter turnout. ABC. The Attorney General's office in the U.S. state of New Hampshire is investigating reports that an apparent robocall used artificial intelligence, AI, to mimic President Joe Biden's voice, discouraging voters from going to the polls. The recorded message, which was sent to multiple voters on Sunday, local time, appears to be an illegal attempt to disrupt and suppress voting in Tuesday's primary election, Attorney General John Formella said on Monday. Trump and Haley to go head-to-head in New Hampshire. BBC. Donald Trump and Nikki Haley are competing in the New Hampshire primary as they vie for the Republican nomination for the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Trump is leading in the polls, while Haley hopes to stop his momentum. The eventual Republican nominee will face the likely Democratic candidate, Joe Biden, in the general election. The Democratic primary in New Hampshire has become embroiled in a dispute between national and local party officials, with President Biden not appearing on the ballot and the results not being recognized nationally. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Six from the 6 Degrees World, here to bring you the latest news and share some analysis with a twist. So, let's get started. In the UK, it seems that excess weight is not only a problem for individuals but also for the country as a whole. The Tony Blair Institute's analysis reveals that obesity is costing the UK a whopping £100 billion per year, making the nation sick and impoverished. But fear not, my friends, because the article offers 4 ways to shed those extra kilos in just 4 weeks. Low-carb diets, intermittent fasting, calorie counting, and meal replacements are all on the menu. So, if you're looking to lose weight, give these methods a try. Just remember to consult a professional before starting any new diet or exercise regimen. Over in California, a faculty strike at the California State Universive (CSU) system has come to an early end thanks to a tentative deal. The strike, involving around 29,000 faculty, librarians, and staff, was brought to a halt with an agreement on wages. While the 12% increase requested by the California Faculty Association, CFA, was not met, a 5% raise retroactive to July 2023 and increased parental leave were included in the deal. It's a win for the faculty, but let's hope this resolves the underlying issues and leads to a better working environment for everyone involved. Moving on to Australia, the former head of the country's competition watchdog is calling for a deep investigation into supermarket profit margins. Alan Fels has accused major supermarket chains of overpricing and wants to shine a light on their competition and pricing practices. It's a bold move, and one that could potentially lead to greater transparency and fairer prices for consumers. Let's hope this inquiry yields some answers and brings about positive change in the retail food and grocery industry. Now, let's talk weather. Queensland is on high alert as a tropical low off the coast threatens to bring heavy rain and flooding. With the region already saturated, the risk of widespread flooding is significant. It's a situation reminiscent of Tropical Cyclone Debbie, which wreaked havoc in 2017. Stay safe, Queenslanders, and make sure you're prepared for the worst. As for the UK, another storm, Storm Jocelyn, is on its way, bringing strong winds and heavy rain. After the recent storm-related disruptions and fatalities, let's hope everyone stays safe and that the damage is minimal. In international news, Australia is taking a stand against cybercrime by imposing sanctions on a Russian man allegedly involved in a data breach. While this sends a strong message about Australia's commitment to tackling cyber threats, the impact on the individual may be limited until relations between the two countries improve. Change takes time, my friends, but every step counts. And finally, let's talk bears. Grizzly 399, a famous grizzly bear in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park, has become a symbol of both the successes and shortcomings of conservation efforts. While her story has raised awareness for grizzly bear conservation, her fame also puts her at risk. The debate over grizzly bear protections and reintroduction plans continues, and it's a topic that sparks controversy. Let's hope that we can find a way to coexist with these magnificent creatures and ensure their survival for generations to come. Well, that wraps up today's news. Remember, my friends, knowledge is power, and sharing ideas and opinions is the key to understanding and progress. So, what are your thoughts on these stories? Do you have any questions or comments? Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.